Welcome back to my video series where I teach you how to fly an FPV, freestyle, racing, acro, drone, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to teach you how to fly it. This video is one in a series. So if it feels like you've dropped in the middle of a conversation, that's why. There is a link in the video description below to the full playlist for the whole series. And if you're looking to learn from the beginning, that's where you should start. But if you're here for the topic of today's video, then let's get into it. Today we're going to continue working the things we were working previously, flips, rolls, and split S's and other kind of acro maneuvers. But we are going to kind of ramp up the difficulty just a little bit. And the way we're going to ramp up the difficulty is we are going to try to do them without just punching out to the sky first and doing them, okay? So what I want you to do is take off from the takeoff location and make a right turn and fly down the street. And in a previous exercise, I had you fly down the street, fly to the end of the street, go around this little circle, and then come back down the street the other way. And we're going to do that again. But what we're going to do is, as we fly down the street, we're going to try to do a roll underneath the level of the street lights, or maybe slightly maybe like no higher than here. And like on some level, you can just do it. We just drop throttle and we roll. And as long as we finish that roll fast enough, we're not going to crash. But that's not what I want you to take from this exercise, because there's really no difference between doing that like at 50 meters and doing that at like 30 meters. What I want you to see is that if we were close enough to the ground and we did the roll, we would just crash, right? We would fall and crash. And what I want you to start doing is start working on a throttle pump to get a little bit of upward movement before you do that flip or roll. In fact, let's do the throttle pump first as its own exercise. So take off and fly over to one of these buildings. And I want you to just kind of be looking at the front of the building, okay? What I want you to do is punch the throttle like I'm doing here so the drone climbs and falls, okay? So if you have a little bit of trouble hovering precisely, then you may not want to do this looking at the front of the building. You may just want to take what I'm doing as an example, and I'll show you an easier way to do it. I'm going to line up here right on this floor, and I'm going to punch the throttle and then drop the throttle until we fall back down. And I'm going to try and catch myself right at that same floor. So a little throttle punch, a little fall, and raise throttle and catch myself. So I just want to raise that throttle. I'm raising it all the way. I'm punching it all the way to full throttle. And I'm just raising it until I begin to start to see myself climb. And then you'll get the timing. You can actually kind of just watch me for the timing. And then as I start to fall, I raise the throttle and catch myself again. So I don't want to do this, right? This is not just like a punch out to the sky. This is a little pump, kind of like dribbling a basketball, right? We'll just go boink, catch, boink, catch, boink, catch. And if you have trouble hovering, and so you can't really hover in front of the building like that, you can do just like we did. You can fly down the street, and at the street level, ideally below the level of the street lights, you can just be flying forward and bonk, and catch yourself before you hit the ground. And bonk. And kind of just like leapfrogging, right? Okay, I want you to get a feel for how much and how long to hold the throttle to produce this kind of result. And how to catch yourself at the bottom. See, I'm at 0, and then I immediately am coming back to where I know is approximately the hover point, and finding that hover point to catch myself so I don't hit the ground. Just spend a little time working that, either while moving forward or while hovering in front of a building. It's your decision which way is the best way for you to do it. Now, when you start to get that, you will see where we're going next. So here I am too close to the ground to do a flip or a roll because I will crash into the ground. But what I can do is little throttle pump, get that pop, and then do the roll. And that's the next exercise we're going to work today. There's your timing on the moves. So it's going to be a little throttle pump, and then as soon as that throttle comes down, boom, we're whipped over on pitch or roll. Or, well, we're not doing pitch yet. We're whipped over on roll. I love to work the timing on this because I have a pretty decent sense of how much airtime I'm going to get, and so I like kind of playing with it and not like just rushing to get upright again as fast as possible, but until you get a sort of a sense of how much airtime you're going to get based on how hard you hit the throttle and how high you go, you may want to just hold full stick for that pretty much the whole move and finish the move. And the challenge here will be to do this as low and controlled as possible, as close to the ground as you can. Ideally below, never going higher than the level of the streetlights, or very close to it. Just like that-ish. Now we're going to do the same thing with flips, and just like before, flips are going to be harder because we kind of can't see what's happening. We just have to trust that we're going to finish the move. So you really need to have started to develop a sense for how to do that throttle punch, kind of by feel, not just by sight, like what the timing on that is. Having done that, we can do a flip, and I'm going to suggest you do a back flip first. And the reason is that when I back flip, I am pitching back and I slow down and I climb, right? But when I do a front flip, I am pitching forward and I speed up and I descend. And so a back flip buys you just a little more time to do it slowly and make a mistake. So we'll start with a back flip, and just like before, we'll be moving forward, we'll punch the throttle, and we'll do a back flip. We'll be flying down the road, punch the throttle, and back flip. Now, a challenge you're going to run into when doing flips close to the ground is that you're going to need to come out of the flip at the right pitch angle to maintain your speed. In other words, the right pitch is like your speed control. If I pitch back, I slow down. If I pitch forward, I go faster. So when I finish that flip, if I come out of it pitched way forward, I'm going to be gaining a lot of speed and going fast. If I do that flip and I come out of it very flat or pitched back, I'm going to lose speed and be going very slow. So as you start to finish that move, you're going to want to kind of have a visual reference or a memory of about where you want the horizon to be. But what you're going to see me do is I'm going to do the move just a little bit short. Like here I've under-rotated the flip just a little, and then I'm going to get a little adjustment on my pitch to control my speed as I come out of it. And make sure that I'm going as fast as I need to be going. Oh god, I almost crashed on that one. I could just tell I was too close to the ground. So your timing for this flip, like if you get really good, you can get the timing just rock solid perfect so you come back to the same pitch angle every time. And of course that's the ultimate like goal. But at the beginning, as you maybe aren't quite there yet, your timing for the flip is going to be, you're going to kind of get to about here where you're pitched forward too much. You'll be going faster than you wanted to go, and then slowly finish the move, finding the correct pitch angle. So here I'm basically looking down, and then I'm going to come out with a little bit slower and more delicate pitch move and find that pitch angle and throttle position for the amount of speed that I want. And your goal is going to be something like that. We can just backflip right down the street. Well, of course, we're going to do front flips. And in some ways the technique is the same. We just throttle punch, and then we find the pitch angle at which we want to finish, and we catch ourselves and keep flying. But because you start the move pulling yourself down and forward, you have to really be confident in the timing, and you have to really get past this part of the move where you're pulling yourself down and forward, and get yourself back upright as fast as you can. So, work those 3 moves, and when you get good, you can just kind of go down the street like this, as low as you can, without hitting the street, doing front flips and back flips. But, oh god, I hit the street. But if you need a little more practice, you can do it a little higher. But if you're too high up though, like if you're up here, you can't really see what's going on with the throttle, and you can't really get that timing on that throttle pump. So I really want you to be low enough to the ground that you can feel what's happening when you're pumping that throttle, and start to work that timing on those moves. So that is going to bring us to the end of the lesson today. A reminder that all of the lessons in this series are in a playlist. I'll put a card to that playlist on screen, and I'll see you in the next one.